You know that feeling when a film you once saw lingers in the back of your mind like an unfinished thought. You remember an image, a sound, a mood, and it keeps scratching at your brain until you finally sit down and watch it again. That's what happened with Romeo Is Bleeding. I mentioned it in last week's video about Michael Wincott, and ever since it's been flashing in front of my eyes. So I gave in, I sat down, hit play, and got pulled right back into this fever dream of a film. The movie begins with a moment that also ends it, the same frame that closes the story. Our Romeo is waiting, counting the months, knowing that twice a year there is a chance, just a chance, that someone special will walk through that door, but it hasn't happened yet. That's the only thing I'll spoil, because why we end up back there is something you should discover yourself if you haven't seen the movie, but trust me, it's worth the ride. Our hero, or rather anti-hero, is Jack Grimaldi, a crooked cop with an endless appetite for mob money and women.
Is it hard yet, baby?
It ain't easy.
He's played by Gary Oldman at his absolute unhinged best. Jack is a man chasing every desire while slowly digging his own grave, and watching him do it is pretty amazing. The tone of Romeo Is Bleeding is set early, thanks to Mark Isham's incredible score. The saxophone instantly tells you that this is noir territory, but it's not overdone, it's essential. It breathes through every scene, filling the film with smoky, doomed romanticism. The story unfolds through Jack's narration. Normally that's a cheap trick, but here it works. It's not exposition, it's confession. His voice adds another layer, like we are trapped inside his head as it all falls apart. And this film is layered. From surreal dream sequences to razor-sharp dialogue to the visual symbolism scattered everywhere, Romeo Is Bleeding lives halfway between reality and delirium. When it came out in 1993, it flopped. Critics called it excessive, tonally confused, and too stylized for its own good. And yeah, I can totally see that. There are moments that feel like they belong in a different movie. That cemetery scene with the toe, for example. As much as I love the audacity, it definitely stretches believability. But here is the thing, that's what makes Romeo Is Bleeding so fascinating. It's not just noir, it's a strange hybrid of crime thriller, erotic psychodrama, and pitch black comedy. It doesn't care about fitting neatly into a genre box, it just bleeds style and attitude. That's probably why it confused critics at the time, but it's exactly why it aged so well today.
Who am I?
Gary Oldman is pure energy. This is one of those roles, like Zorg in The Fifth Element or Stansfield in Leon, that feels like it was written for him. He doesn't just play a corrupt cop, he is him. You can see every thought flicker across his face, every emotion twist through him. The camera knows it too. Even when he's not speaking, it stays on him, because watching him react is much more interesting than anything else that is happening in that scene. And then there is Lena Olin. She plays Mona de Markov, the femme fatale to end all femme fatales. Their chemistry burns through the screen. Every scene between them is a psychological duel, full of shifting power and sexual tension. You can practically feel them testing each other, trying to read what the other desires, and then weaponizing it. Juliette Lewis plays her trademark naive but knowing girl, perfect as always. She had a real run of roles like this in the 90s, and she always had a great taste when choosing films. Annabella Sciorra as Jack's wife could have easily been a throwaway role, but here she's the voice of reason, the one who truly sees Jack for what he is, and still loves him until the breaking point. And she can even become dangerous if needed. Even the supporting cast is packed. David Provel, Will Patton, Ron Perlman, James Cromwell, and of course Michael Wincott, who brings his trademark silky menace as Tom Falcone's right hand.
Hey, you gotta give me something!
And let's not forget Roy Scheider himself as Falcone, a fantastic antagonist, perfectly tailored, wearing these comfy-looking, almost feminine clothes, with perfect soft skin telling these philosophical tales while having the power to have you killed with a snap of a finger.
I could have you shot, torn to pieces, your wife made ugly, your house burned down, your girlfriend gutted.
And there is even a short, hilarious cameo by Dennis Farina. The man could play a mobster in his sleep and still make it entertaining.
So, we're going to take Lou out of the trunk because he was bleeding all over and everything. All we had was just like a shower curtain thing. It was a mess.
I could watch him eat pasta and banter all day. The film was directed by Peter Medak, the same man behind The Changeling, a cult haunted house masterpiece. His career has swung between prestige TV like Breaking Bad or The Wire, and, well, films like Species 2. But Romeo Is Bleeding might be his most ambitious stylistic gamble, part noir, part nightmare, and completely its own thing. The screenplay came from Hilary Henkin, who also wrote Roadhouse, and earned an Oscar nomination for Wag the Dog. You can feel that sharp, cynical writing here too, the mix of grit, irony, and doomed romance. The film's look is a big part of why it sticks with you. Cinematographer Dariusz Wolski, who later shot The Crow and Dark City, drenches every frame in deep shadows and flickering neon. The city feels half real, like it only exists between night and morning. Every lamp, every puddle, every curl of smoke feels carefully painted. If cigarettes could smoke, they would in this movie. Everybody smokes all the time. It's a film noir trope, of course, and here the cigarettes become extensions of the characters and the smoke becomes the texture of the scenes. The dream sequences tie right into that look. They blur fantasy and guilt until you can't tell which is which. And they are not just for spectacle, they are Jack's world, a space where his desires and fears become indistinguishable. And look at this idyllic picture, Jack's peaceful home. But what is that in the background? Oh yes, death, quietly watching over every illusion of peace. That's the kind of visual storytelling that makes Romeo Is Bleeding rewatchable. You start noticing all those tiny subliminal details you missed before. Okay, here's something fun. Bon Jovi actually wrote a song for this movie, but he ended up hating it so much that he refused to let it be used. And honestly, that's kind of fair. Bon Jovi and Romeo Is Bleeding live in two completely different universes. Still, just imagine if the film ended with a Bon Jovi power ballad. That would have been a very different kind of vibe.
This Romeo is bleeding.
The title, Romeo Is Bleeding, says it all really. Romeo, the romantic, the lover, the dreamer, bleeding out in a world where love is transactional and survival always wins. It's both literal and poetic, a perfect metaphor for Jack Grimaldi himself, a man who wanted to be a hero in his own story, but couldn't stop destroying everything he touched. In the end, we return to where we began. Jack in that bar, waiting. The story loops on itself like a curse. The frame closes, the circle completes, but the feeling lingers. You can easily imagine him still being there, forever waiting, replaying the same 6-month cycle of hope and failure. Romeo Is Bleeding isn't a perfect film. It's messy, over the top, sometimes ridiculous, but it's alive, it's bold, sensual and tragic, full of great music, unforgettable performances, and that rare 90s energy when filmmakers still took big, dangerous swings, and it's also a lot of fun. It's a noir fever dream, and once you've seen it, it never quite leaves your head. I grew up on movies like this, strange, half-forgotten gems that stuck with me for years, so if you love rediscovering films like Romeo Is Bleeding, stick around, I've got a lot more coming.
Well, we've said everything that needs to be said, haven't we?
Thanks for watching.